So this problem set is about an excise tax, and we have a demand function again, which is 8 minus q. So it's the one that goes from here to here. Our supply function is 2 plus q. And you still remember in the market equilibrium, the corresponding parameter values were equilibrium price was 5, equilibrium quantity 3, the consumer surplus, I don't have to draw it anymore, we did it already 100 times, so 4.5, and producer surplus was 4.5, so we know that from the earlier videos. But what matters now is that we have a tax of 2, and what the tax does is it shifts the supply curve up by 2. So this curve is being shifted up by 2. So we have here our old supply, and here the supply plus the tax. So now the price goes up from the former equilibrium price of 5 to 6. And the equilibrium quantity, which used to be 3, went down to 2. So maybe I'll make it bigger. So the new supply function, the one that matters, is this one here. And of course the demand function is still here. So now we do our welfare analysis. Okay, so the price after the tax is 6. The quantity demanded at the price of 6 is 2. Quantity supplied, because the new supply function is now with the tax, so the quantity supplied is 2. The quantity turned over is then 2. So now consumer surplus is this little triangle up here, which is 2 times 2 over 2, so that's 2. Consumer surplus is 2. And again, when it comes to the producer surplus is the price, is everything below the price that the producers get, and above their supply function, which is a lineup of all the firm's reservation price, and the reservation price is given by the supply function. So the net price that they get is 4, so that is the net price. That's the price that they get, even though the consumers, they pay at the cashier 6. Well, there is this distance here which is going to the government, so the actual producer surplus is only this triangle here, and this triangle is 2. And then we see that in between we still have this additional area, which is now the tax, because we turn over 2 units in the market, and each unit carries a tax of 2. So that area here is the total tax revenue of 4. Okay, so consumer surplus is 2, producer surplus we said is 2, and tax revenue is 2 times 2, So now producer surplus is tax revenue, sorry, is 4. 2 times 2 is 4. So tax revenue is 4. So total surplus is 248, or welfare. But in the previous example, in the market equilibrium, total surplus was 9. So that means we again lose 1. And when it comes to the calculation of welfare, we said welfare is equal to consumer surplus plus producer surplus, but it is also equal to tax revenue. Why? Because this triangle, and actually this rectangle here, used to be consumer surplus. It's just given now to the government. And the lower one, this rectangle here, that used to be producer surplus, and that's just handed over to the government. So the government could, if it wanted to, give it back, but it's nothing that's being lost, it's just being redistributed. But what's being lost is this triangle here, because the tax reduces economic activity, and this triangle here used to be consumer surplus and producer surplus, which is now lost. Okay, so now we should be able to answer all the questions. Okay, so what is the price after the imposition? We said the new price, of course, is 6. So the price is 6. What is the quantity demanded? That's 2. So we have a reduction of economic activity. Quantity supplied is 2. What is the quantity turned over? Well, that's 2. How big is the tax revenue? So that is what it used to be. This area here. So that was 4. So total revenue, tax revenue is 4. How big is consumer surplus? Well, we said that is only 2. Producer surplus, only 2. So total welfare, total surplus is 8. 2 plus 2 plus 4. That's 8. And how big is the deadweight loss? Well, we dropped from 9 to 8, so the deadweight loss is 1. Okay, so that was the welfare analysis of a tax, and in the next video we'll do a welfare analysis associated with a subsidy.